Brookline Town Council. Robert DeRosa, authorizing transfer, freedom of the floor. Eugene Torek, Town IT Manager. David Hamlin, DPW. Giles Norton, Youth Services Committee. Christine Fisher, Youth Services Committee. Heidi Griffin, Town Planner. Liz Priviello, Town Treasurer. Paula DeMont, CPC. Sebastian Tyne, Assessor. Helene Minton, Library Director. Pauline Foss, Resident at Travel Way. Allison Olson, HR Administrator. Vincent Sabella, 18 Road Circle. Romaine Sabella, 18 Road Circle. Tom Nelson, Business Manager for the School Department. Mark Fair, Health Agent, and Frederick Thies, the reporter.
Is he out there? Yes, and everybody but down.
We have a motion to admit. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Unanimous. Those individuals may enter the hall. Just a couple of housekeeping matters before we get underway. The tellers for this evening, counting to my right, will be on the far right. Joanne Pulowski will count that section. Tricia Colella will count the center section, and Jeff Simons will count the front and to my left. Everyone in the hall should be wearing a ribbon, either a red ribbon to signify a registered voter, or a black ribbon to signify that they are a visitor. The visitors can sit in the section to my right, and unless they're serving on a town board or committee, in which case they can sit in the center section in the first 3 rows that are reserved for town boards and committees. With that, we'll move to the first motion. Mr. Messeri.
Mr. Moderator, I move to dispense with the reading of the warrant and to refer to the articles by number, and further to dispense with the reading of the return of service by the constable.
We have a motion. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Opposed? Unanimous? Mr. Vino, Article 1.
Thank you, Mr. Moderator. I move to authorize the Board of Selectmen to choose all necessary town officers not elected by ballot and to determine what instructions shall be given.
We have a motion. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Unanimous? Article 2, Mr. Vino.
Mr. Moderator, I move to accept the printed town report for the year 2006 and reported to town officers and committees, and to hear other reports that may be presented at this meeting.
We have a motion. The moderator is aware of some individuals on town boards or committees who are wishing to give reports. Is Ed McGrath here from the Recycling Committee? Janet Nicosa from Marks Pond Reclamation Study Committee.
Hi, Amanda Koja, 2 Poplar Terrace. The Martins Pond Reclamation Study Committee was established in 1981 as an advocacy group to guard both the environmental and recreational values of Martins Pond. Our next public meeting is April 23rd, and you're all invited to come, 7:30 at Town Hall. The Martins Pond Association is a town charter charity which was formed in 1992 and operates fundraisers and events at Clark Park. The Martins Pond Association volunteers are also very active in environmental efforts. There have been many studies of Martins Pond over the past 20 years, but I want to show you the recent journey for information we've undertaken since revitalizing the committee in 2001. Oh no, wrong project. Hold on. Sorry. I brought up the wrong presentation. Oops. Yeah. Aha. Here we go. On we go. You see here, these are the members, and below is our mission statement. We started looking into the pond, and we identified 3 major issues affecting the area. And those are flooding, water quality, and recreation. We looked downstream of Martins Pond to assess water flow and locate constrictions. The Martins Pond area is a naturally low-lying area, and we had to accept that some flooding may always be a part of life on the Martins Pond. We inspected culverts and located beaver dams, and we identified by airplane a portion of the Martins Brook Channel, which is choked with weeds. As solutions, we cleaned culverts, funded the caging of the culvert at Route 62, which was officially clogged by debris, and Mike Sorgan has applied to FEMA to enlarge the Route 62 bridge in Wilmington, which has been identified for over 20 years as a major constriction and contributing factor to the severity of floods in our neighborhood. We helped the town streamline the process for beaver control, and we funded a town-wide assessment by a beaver expert and created a manual for handling beaver problems. We also installed a beaver deceiver flow device at the end of Fieldcrest Terrace. We began to clear the clogged channel, and we'll continue that effort very soon. In order to monitor the flow of the area, we installed 8 stream elevation gauges, which we read once a week, and they help us to identify blockages in the system. As for water quality problems, turbidity, which is the murkiness of the water, bacteria, and invasive species are the 3 major issues. Turbidity is caused by 3 things. Tannins, which are the staining from oak leaves, algae, which are organisms that live in the water column, and suspended sediment, which is basically kicked up silt. Each of these 3 factors have in varying degrees affect the turbidity of the water, and their effects on the water changes over time. After the leaves decay in the spring, the fall leaves have decayed, tannins become a larger issue. That's the black shown in the graph. This is a graph done by Merrimack College. Martins Pond is only 8 feet deep, and there's 20 feet of sediment below that, so it's very easy to kick up silt. The only way to control oak leaves is to advise residents to keep them out of the water or to not put them in the wetlands. It creates a kind of a tea bag effect and stains the water coming into the pond. Algae is a plant that needs nutrients to survive, like nitrogen and phosphorus, found in fertilizers and in stormwater. So reducing stormwater pollution and sewering around the pond would greatly decrease the food that algae lives on. We can also reduce the amount of sediment coming in by retrofitting stormwater systems with those that more effectively filter the runoff before it reaches the pond. This is one of the focuses of Article 18 coming up later tonight. Bacteria may come from septic systems, waterfowl, and mishandled animal waste. Not from my yard. The most effective way to prevent bacteria in septic systems would be a sewer around the pond. We work to promote this, but while we are waiting, we have started a septic pumping program where we've negotiated as a group a reduced price for septic pumping. We had 40 residents participate last year, which was our first year. We also educate about proper animal waste handling and discourage feeding geese. Vegetative buffers are also an effective geese deterrent. There are 2 invasive species that we contend with: fanwort, which is in the pond, and purple loosestrife, which is in the wetlands. The plants are invasive when they crowd out native species and offer no nutritional value to indigenous wildlife. So for fanwort control, Merrimack College has mapped the fanwort growth in Martin's Pond since 2002. We conducted a harvesting in 2005, which was highly successful. Monitoring is continuing, but we haven't seen a need to harvest again yet. And we don't know when we will need that again. We may have knocked it back to it may last years, the effects of what was done. Purple loosestrife is so abundant all across Massachusetts and the United States that it's a European plant, that the USDA has approved the release of Galaricella beetles, which come from Germany, and under a permit issued to the Mass Waterways, we have released bugs into the wetlands 4 times. We harvest the plants, grow them at Merrimack, populate them with the beetles multiply, and then the plants are put back in the wetlands at 3 state-approved locations. One of our locations has begun to show damage, and that is site number 3, shown on the map. I think the graph is hard to understand. The black arrows are when we did releases, and it goes across from fall 2002, 2003. We didn't do a release in 2004, and then 2005 we also did 2006. And you see the green is the amount of bugs, plant that has been eaten. We call it herbivory, which is how much damage has been done. At the green site, which is site number 3, there was a significant amount of damage in the fall of 2005. Okay, through fundraisers, grants, and funding from our legislators, we have raised over $600,000 for Martin's Pond. That number does not include any town match. The restoration of Clark Park has been a labor of love for us. With each new structure or improvement, we were gratified by the increased activity, attendance, and neighborhood pride. The events bring people from all over town and showcase Martin's Pond as a great natural resource. We encourage all of you to spend time at Martin's Pond. We would not have been successful in any of this without the support from the town, Merrimack College, and our legislators, Brad Jones and Bruce Tarr. It has been a true partnership, and any of our successes are also theirs. Thank you.
Thank you, Jan. Giles Norton for the Youth Services Committee.
John Norton, 59 Mount Street. The Youth Services Committee is finally here in town. Our first meeting is tomorrow, following in the wake